Hey there, folks. I want to welcome you here today to the STB Leadership Call. I'm sorry, we actually sent out the wrong link, so I was in the wrong room. So give me just a second here. I'm going to add Mr. Dwayne Golden as our host here, but give me just 1 second. I definitely appreciate you taking your time, and I really do apologize that we were a couple minutes late here. So let me see here. Okay, Dwayne, you should be in a position that you can actually speak now as well. I do want to welcome everybody out to the call here today. We do have we have a lot of people on here for messing up the link, so I do apologize. This will be the same exact link that you used for tonight's overview call as well. Dwayne, are you there where you can come out and hear us and speak?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you, man. There you are. I can see you. All right, man. You were a caller. You look good. I'm in a t-shirt here, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, normally I'm a t-shirt guy, but the wife said, clean up, man, get a shower. Anyway, good to see you guys. It's good to see everyone here, and it's a great opportunity. If you can, let your people know that if they're going to the leadership call link, to use the overview link on the website, because this is one I want everyone to be here for. It's an opportunity for us to lock arms and fight back and not take no for an answer, but only insist upon yes. So I'll shut up for a second, Jane, let you finish.
Oh man, no, I appreciate it. But again, we apologize for being a couple minutes late here. It looks like we still have a fantastic group. So just like Dwayne said, if you can get out there and invite people, make sure they have the right link. It's the overview link. It's going to be the same link we use for tonight's call. So it might confuse them, but it's okay. Tell them we're in here. We have a great call that's planned. So Dwayne, I'm fired up here, man. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say today in your presentation about fighting back. Obviously, you know, it's been past couple of years have been pretty tough in this industry. So I think this is something that people definitely want to hear. That's why the room's filled up. So I'm going to share your presentation and I'm going to mute out and give it to you. So give me just 1 second here. I'm going to mute out and then let me get your presentation up, okay? Hey, bro, you're muted.
Hey, before you put the presentation up, I'd like to just be here and talk to them for a minute. By the way, it's good to see each of you. You know, it's something about it. I mentioned it in the last week that a good leader goes nowhere alone. It's wonderful to see these leaders, people who have already experienced great successful long before they get here, being on the calls. It's something to have people go and not go yourself, you know. We know that that's not sustainable, so hats off to each of you guys. How many of you here have been fortunate enough over the last couple of years to produce at least multiple six figures in this cryptocurrency eco space? I'd like to know. Type in the number one. Don't worry if you haven't. I want to get something out here and so everyone knows what we're fighting. You see, it's one thing to fight everything that moves, right? We call that kind of person toxic, and they're no fun to be around because everything's an argument they want to fight. But I want to make sure we're actually have a common enemy here. And in order to establish that, it'd be interesting to note how many of you, right? Oh, good. Okay, good. Now, here's another question. How many of you, you know, you've seen some success. For the first time in your life, from home, you've made more than $20,000 or $30,000 worth of cryptocurrency over the last 2 or 3 years. You've been there. Type in the number two. There's something I think that's missing here as we go forward, as we look at what we're fighting, how to do it together, and ensure that we have a long, sustainable mark that we can put in this industry. And that's not going to happen without a fight, you know. Thank you so much for your feedback. You know, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself so that it makes sense to you where I'm coming from with this call, with this specific meeting. I'm one of 7 children from my parents, James and Carolyn, who were married in 1959. I'm one of 7 children. I was born in 1964, right? Putting me right at 55 years old in just a few weeks from now. And I'm telling you this for a reason. I've had people tell me that it's easy for me because of who I am or because of things I've done in the industry, right? And wrong, it's not even true. What some of you here know this. The greatest things in life that we enjoy came from people who had to fight their way through it. I grew up in a time, early 60s, 60s, 70s, when things weren't not as nice in our country. We had to fight for things. We'd learn not to hate, but to fight against the opposition that interferes with us moving forward. Don't worry, I'm getting somewhere. I want you to catch this because there's a great opportunity here for you to leverage your business based on this. My story is not unique, so I know that. Many of you here, if you fought a good, hard, long fight, I know that. Some of you are still in that fight. But I've seen in 1961, my parents' son was sick. He's only 6 months years of age. And the doctors don't know what's wrong. He couldn't, my brother could not be seen in the Tampa General Hospital because of his color. They didn't allow it at the time. It's a time where the world was at the time, right? Or at least the United States was. And what's interesting about it is my brother went for many, many months with this illness not being able to be told what's wrong because he can only be seen in what's called the Negro clinics, which is interns who are learning about medicine, but he couldn't be seen in the main hospital. Watch how powerful this is. My father's brother asked my parents to move to Pennsylvania where everybody's seen and treated the same in the hospitals and everything. And my parents did it. They were worried that my brother would die. Turns out when they got to Pennsylvania, they were asked this question: what in the world is this? This is polio. We've had a cure for many years. What's the reason that, how could they miss this? When my parents had explained that there was no doctor who could see him at the time, it was not feasible for them to understand how this kind of thing could happen. Seeing that, my brother today, after many, many fights, dealing with the devastation of polio, is a very successful internet marketer. Some of you know him. You've probably seen him with Russell Brunson and others. But that's just one of many stories I could tell you. I could tell you stories about of just many fights. But I want to tell you something. I've been in the gully where a lot of you are. I'm a retired military who ended up with exposure to chemicals, had over 53 surgeries, 17 of them plastic surgeries on my lower extremities. You see my legs, they don't look real. They look like I've been in a bad fire, or it looks like bone with granulated flesh around it. And I'm telling you this to be transparent. So when I talk about fighting, I'm telling you I understand it. But I have not seen such a parallel as I see today between where this industry has gone over the last 2.5, 3 years to where it is now. And I say it's time for someone to fight. The reason I answered James isn't because of his height or his weight or that he's so smart or good looking. None of that has anything to do with it. It's time to fight and need to be around someone who's willing to step out and step forward with the risk of what it means to get. See, when you fight, you're gonna get punched. I'm guilty myself. A few years ago, I stepped back in the MLM industry and the cryptocurrency industry to be quiet and more corporate-y because I hated all the evil trolls who write lies about you. But today, it's your day. Today, I stand here before you asking James Ward to fight, and I'm asking each of you to fight for what you believe in, for your families to have an opportunity, because we're at the same point the world was at the last turn of the century. As we close out the Industrial Revolution and dive into a new world, it was infancy stages for being able to build wealth. Today, it's your turn. Doesn't matter if you have a third grade education or you have multiple degrees. It doesn't matter. Today is your day. And we're going to talk about that. So James, if you could, put up the slides. And I'd like to ask you while you're starting with the slides, how many of you are ready to understand what it means to fight? And you will, if I'm going to fight and your owner is going to fight, that you gladly will fight with us for this cause. Type in the number 3. See, I'm a big believer in the fight for my wife and children. I'm a huge believer in fighting for those who cannot fight for themselves. And I'm a fantastic advocate and cheerleader for those who will fight for right. And today we can do this, and we put a dent in the industry in spite of the owner, James Ward, and in spite of the company concept. We can do this. So let's go. It's time. It's time for a fight. Not for picking one, but for responding to those who will pick one with you. How will we do it? Let's take a look. Slide number 1. First of all, it's time to fight back and win. And you know what? We've been in a crisis for the past 30 months or so. And now it's time for men and women. See, I'm not a believer that only men should fight and women should stay at home and cook. I believe that we all should dip in and fight. I believe that God's given it from with each of us to stand up for what we believe in. And if we only believe in things that have to do with money, we don't believe in anything. We don't even believe in ourselves. What we're doing is we are actually falling for a lie that's out there. And we're going to try to bring those to halt today. But it's time. And we've lost a lot of ground in these last 3 years. Many of you understand it. When cryptocurrency first came to the market, I'm telling you, you all know, even in 2017, less than 1% of the market was even aware or understood it or could even fathom it. It was a great time for us to do some right things, and it wasn't done. Not amongst participants or the ownership. Everyone has failed, and it's time for us to fight against it and make sure it doesn't happen any longer. So let's move on, James. How are we going to do this? Well, we got to fight back with massive action. It's aggressive action, rather. I'm going to get to massive. It's interesting. We're passive about most things. Yeah, I'm going to get to it. I'm going to look at it. But a person in a fight who takes the passive route does not win. If you've ever been in a fight, or you're military, you know, what you do is sit back waiting, you're probably going to lose a few teeth, right? You're probably going to lose a few teeth or be knocked out. But guess what? We're in a fight now that the time for being passive is gone. We lost it. We all were very passive over the last 30 months, and because of it, we've been kicked in the stomach. We've actually punched ourselves and blamed others for it. And it's time for that to go away. So if you've never been in your life before aggressive, because it's the opposite of your personality, today you should step up to the plate and understand that it's time to take aggressive action. Because there's a war. There's a war that says if you want to become wealthy, wait for the government, wait for school programs, and wait for stimulus checks, wait for the next man to be in office, we are being told a lie, and it's time for us all to be aggressive and say we're not going to accept it. Like those who passed before us. Andrew Carnegie, right? We're talking about Milton Hershey. Some people that came in at the turn of the century when everyone told them what they can do and not do, and they wouldn't accept it. They stepped forward, and today, what they placed here still exists. We have that opportunity. I'm ready for it. I'm ready, which means I might get punched in the jaw, and I've got a glass jaw. I'm not a tough guy at all, but I'm ready to fight. I'm ready to fight and flex up my arms. I'm ready to lose a tooth. I might get a black eye, but I'm ready to fight. Who is with me? Because here's what's happening. We've got so many people. They're on a Ferris wheel. They're a part of the PJ Club, professional joiners. Because we've all taken a passive role, we become professional joiners. Something new comes up, well, we'll start it. We're pitching in the morning, we're pitching in the night. We're pitching in the gut and pitching in the night. By the time December comes, we've pitched 5 to 7 companies. Oh my gosh, it's got to stop. And it can stop if we draw the line in the sand and say it's wartime. It's wartime, and we're going to be aggressive. We're going to be aggressive in the face of need, in the face of some of the things we face. If we're going to do that together, we must be united. That means the owner's got to be a part of this, and the leaders, members, everyone's got to be a part in order to win. If it's every man for himself, no one wins. All right? That's a fact. Government wins. When we all are just taking care of ourselves only, everyone wins but us. And it's time for that to be over. It's time, the negative blog posts, the people who write blogs who don't do anything at all except write about everyone else who's doing something, and when they post lies and all that stuff, we're subject to them. They own us. That has to stop. And we're going to make the difference today. We're going to draw a line in the sand. Those of us at STB who are agreeing to lock arms and fight, this is our time. Are you ready? If you're ready, say, I'm ready with a number 1. I'm ready. Number 1. Type it in. Beautiful. I love you, this guy. Boy, you guys are great. Let's go. All for one, one for all. So what's going to happen here? We have to get over something. It's official. Everybody's been hurt. And we can't pass off our hurts to everyone else. Everyone's been hurt. Yes. Here's something interesting. I'm a business owner, and I've lost crypto in opportunities because I took a passive role. I'm not going to blame anyone except the guy look in the mirror. I took a passive role when things didn't make sense. Should have been aggressive. And I'm asking you all to be aggressive. I took a passive role because what I wanted meant so much that I overlooked some things, right? I overlooked it when I said, okay, who's behind this thing? Who's running it? When he said, well, we don't know, but it's paying every day. Overlooked it. Some of you, you're guilty of the same thing. But here's what we have to do. In order to win this thing, we have to recognize these past pains and losses that haunt us can actually propel us forward, not just to making better decisions, but creating a stronger culture so that we can win this battle. Many who don't study war don't understand how much we were losing. Don't understand how much we were losing in World War I and World War II. Many don't understand that the common enemy had more technology, more weaponry, more airplanes, more everything, and it wasn't likely to come out of this. By today, much of our world will be blonde hair and blue eyes and speak German. But it took a few who, even though they were considered the minority, right? The Allied powers, were able to overcome the rest because they united and became strong in innovation, in ideas, but certainly aggressive. Until the aggressive moments they were losing, and today we can be aggressive. And I'm asking each of you. For me, I have my own companies. It's not about STB. I love STB, but it's not about that. I'm not a member. All right? It's bigger, but there's no reason we can't use this platform, James. If you suit up and put your boxing gloves on and fight, if these leaders and members put on theirs and fight, no longer do we have to take our relatives and pitch them the 8th company for the year because all the rest of them keep going away because we're not aggressive, because we don't draw the line in the sand. We can do it today. So let's not let these past losses haunt us. Let's flip the script. Let's see examples. For example, I just talked a little bit about the pre-post industrial revolution. Do you guys know that just what kind of shape of the world the United States was before World War I? Does anyone even have an idea? Many of you know there was a lot of good things going on following the Ben Franklin era and all that stuff. But watch it from a global standpoint. Click to the next screen. Sorry. Yeah, most of you don't know that the United States was only responsible for 17% of the world's resources, just 17. But through poverty, depressions, right? Getting past the 1860s of the Civil War, getting past the many deaths of people and the migration, the loss of life moving west, this aggregation of the Native Americans and displacing them, where this country was going through so much that we're in the downspin, kind of the way we are in this industry of cryptocurrency, right? There's been enough scams that everybody believes it's a scam. There's enough things going on that we're fighting each other. Some of us today, if we see certain people, we think we want to kill them. We're angry. There's so many misunderstandings that everyone's got their guards up. No one's sure of the enemy. Today, I want to remind you that we can be sure of the enemy. The enemy is anything that points towards a lack of success for home business and cryptocurrency to prevail. That's the enemy. Not your former business partner, not your former upline, not the person who's in your downline. That's not the enemy. The enemy is giving 100% control over to every government agency. So now we're subject to them to give us welfare checks instead of us creating it ourselves. And I'm telling you, I come from a family where my dad told us, he says, listen, I don't care what it takes. We're not moving to the projects. I didn't understand it. My dad, they only pay $12, man. We don't have anywhere to go. For days of my life, we have lived in women's shelters. We have slept in cars, empty houses, the attics of empty houses. I am telling you now that I knew the common enemy. My mom and dad said they wouldn't allow us to hate someone. It is not the white man's fault. They want us to know the common enemy was anything that gets in the way of being anything other than what God created us to be. I was taught that I could be whatever I wanted in life. And I can't blame women. I can't blame white people. I can't blame Spanish people. I can't blame the Ku Klux Klans. He made sure that I knew the enemy, what it wasn't. And I'm here today to tell you, one of the things that helped the United States to become a superpower is it was taught to focus on the actual enemy, at which put the Polish community, the Black community, the Jewish community in war beside each other, fighting against the true enemy. It made us strong. And I'm here to tell you today, no matter what beef you have with anyone, it's time to call a truce and fight the real enemy. We can do that today. Don't worry, I'm gonna get to some STB stuff, but this is bigger. This is all about why we should be doing this. And what's interesting is, after coming around a common enemy, what changed? Next slide. The United States single-handedly became responsible for more than 60% of the world's resources, which then changed things dramatically politically, which changed things dramatically regarding military and other things. Many of you don't know. After World War II, did you know that the president of Japan was General MacArthur? Was an American president to help them get things going so till they can find the rightful person. It was amazing what came out of it. The sad truth is, look at what had to happen for it to occur. There were many deaths. Many who've lost their land. It's sad, but true. But isn't it true that there are many homeless today because of what happened over the last 30 months in cryptocurrency? There are people who've given up their homes, their vacations, their kids' college to join a team that you may have been on. And everyone's scattered. That happened because of the lack of aggression that we have. It happened because we didn't consider specific things, but we can do it today. And I'm here to tell you, yes, people are gonna write ugly things about you. They're gonna lie. The guy that has never done nothing in his life, it's easy for him to write and say what you're doing and what you mean, right? Than you, because you're too busy doing something, you don't have time to write it. I get it. Anyone who's ever done anything in this home business or internet marketing space or cryptocurrency space, you haven't done anything yet if someone hasn't written something ugly about you. But guess what? Today we can bring it to a close. We can lock arms together and become powerful. I see your names. You guys are powerful people. Could you imagine how much stronger we are with the synergy of what each of us do? How many are ready for that? How many are ready to be not just the power of one, but the power of this united force? When I have challenged, I'm calling you, each of you up. Craig, Gary, Paul, Zeke, I'm reading these names. Brent, whoever you are, I will call you all. Let's team up. Let's kill this thing. Let's get rid of it because it's in our way. How many of you are looking forward to that? Type in number 3. That's what should be happening. That's what must happen. It's just ridiculous. We turn on each other, not knowing we turn on the industry. Then we go to a government agency who doesn't like you or me, and we tell them things to try and get someone in trouble, and we kill the industry, we kill the future of your children, we kill the future of, watch this now, free enterprise, because we think we have the one enemy when it's not the right one. Oh my goodness. Saddens me. What could make me turn on you, Roland? That instead of working out with you, I'm gonna go to an agency that doesn't like either one of us and ask them to arbitrate. What sense does that make? Okay, I don't wanna stay here because we've got more to cover. Truth is, we need strong men and women who are tired. I'm not gonna tell you we need just strong men. We need strong men and women. See, I grew up in a time frame where my mom had to be strong as much as my dad did. My dad was strong, but when he's gone, my mom would have to get in the pickup truck, which she didn't even know how to drive, a stick shift in the snow, take someone to the doctor or do something else, and then cook everything by scratch in an oven, right? Where we have candles because there's no electricity, but we do have gas. Women have to be strong too, and I think they can be stronger in most cases than us men. That's why they give babies and have babies and we don't. Here's what I'm gonna tell you. It's our time. We have to be prepared to fight. See, it's interesting, James. Most don't understand this, that a person that will stand for nothing will fall for anything. Today, I stand. I will fight. I said yes to James at the risk of being linked up with all the scams that hit before. I said yes to being consultant here, knowing that it can cast a doubt on my companies, where people think of, but how do we get past this if we all don't sacrifice at some level? I am tired. I am tired of the negative connotation. I'm tired of the new laws that are being placed because of some of the bad things that leaders, members, and owners have done. I'm tired. It's time that you're tired too. If you're tired with me, type in the number 5. That way I know that it's not just me and I'm not fighting by myself. We can do this together. It's time. Fight. You too, James. You fight. We all fight. The common enemy. We can come out and watch this now. Probably hard to believe. In an industry where 100% of all of the crypto-related binary daily pay MLMs, 99% go out of business. That means by doing things right here, that at STB, it can control greater than 60 or more % of the marketplace because we're willing to do as a unit what others weren't willing to do. The owner's willing to step out, right, and not hide. Each of us are willing to do what we have to do, watch us now, in an integral manner. We're willing to put a ring on it. It's interesting. Ladies, you will understand this, I believe. Never made sense to me, but if a guy really likes you, right, he's probably gonna stop dating all the other girls. And I understand, because of the casualties of war, many of you feel you have to be in 5 to 10 or 20 new programs, not knowing it dilutes your success. Why? Because of the lies. I think I might have it on a slide here. I believe it's because of the lies. But we men, like these two guys, have to fight against the lies. And I'm gonna tell you what those lies are. Next slide. Ladies, even you have to take a punch and fight against the lies. Here's how it's done. We begin this fight by exercising our no muscle. The no muscle is like this. Hey, I got this new program, dude. It's amazing, right? Who owns it? Well, I don't know, but it's hot. Learn how to say no because it doesn't make sense. If the person who's going to pay you isn't committed enough to let you know who they are, then there's no way it's going to work out on your benefit, period. It's simple. If the person who's going to pay you is using a mathematical model where they say yes to everything, you have to say no. If you tell the company to give you X amount of dollars and to fly you and do all these things, they're not doing the accounting. They're just trying to make money for a season. And you have to be responsible enough to say no. Because here's what I do know. Most of you don't. I know the consulting side and I know what people go through because they call my office trying to see if I will help. And I would tell you, when they get in trouble, there's a flag that comes up, please help. You wonder how they get in the position, but instead of judging, I just observe. It's time. They've been going 2 months. There's all kinds of money coming in. But unfortunately, there's not much going out. There's not enough to go out because they spent it already not saying no. Every leader. This is, by the way, with no one taking offense, I'm in a different fight. I'm in a fight that some of you might not want to hear about, but it's important that you hear it or we can't win. It's time that we stop asking the company to do something we won't do. I don't understand it. If I'm bragging that I make 7 figures and I've been the biggest leader over here and over there, I should come in and pay my way, period. We don't recognize that some of these companies that have gone out of business, they weren't bad people. They may not have been smart, but they weren't bad people. They just couldn't say no. They had no muscle. There's a time now when men and women have to exercise a no muscle, even if you're not popular, even if you're not liked, even if someone says, I'm not staying, you must say no. James, leaders, members, it's an absolute must. I personally am tired. I'm tired of someone bragging in the same sentence. I'm tired. I'm tired of someone bragging in the same sentence of how much money they've made and how good they are. And then they say, well, could you give me? What's interesting is, will some of you do the math with me, please? Here's the math. If the company gives 100 people a 1 Bitcoin account, let's just say Bitcoin's at 10,000. How much money does the company start off in debt? No is your best friend. You may not like it, but I'm a big believer. James will tell you. I'm sure I'm not the first guy he likes to talk to because one of my biggest answers is no. The only shot you got in being here a year from now is if this company owner can say no when it's time. Not offensively, but come out and say it cannot work. Coming from a poor family, a family of 9, right? And my dad and mom insisting they just don't want to get a welfare check. So they had to put more water in the pot. Our home looked like a shack in the hills of West Virginia. But they would not take something that they didn't work for. They didn't want it. It taught me a lot. And I'm asking you guys, please don't be offended, but if you are, I'm okay with it. Can you try to come to this company because the owner is ready to sacrifice? Don't ask him to sacrifice the future of the company. Ask him to do whatever he can within his power to help you get a good start. But I'm amazed at the number of people that get offended when he doesn't want to take the members' money and give $50,000 accounts away. And if he does it, it's going to be easier for you to do it. And the people that don't like it, well, here's what I want you to understand. I've been at this game long enough to say, yes, they may not like it and they may walk away. But here's what I do know. When you have something good, they always come back. They always come back. And if they don't, it's okay. If it means you can sustain it for those. Think of this. How many people on your team are single parents or retirees who don't even have insurance and would just love for this to work? Do any of us have the right to ask the company to give away some of the money that will pay them to give upfront money because you have a good reputation? Does that make sense to anyone? If it doesn't make sense, please type in the number 2 because I'm confused. I am confused. I don't understand it. Then, after we make the company go out of business, we go to the government and tell them, go get these people, they took all of our money. No. Each of you had a part in that. You've asked them, think of this. If I already gave an example of 100, many of you don't know, many of these companies give as much as 200 to 300 accounts away. That means they start off in a hole a few $1,000,000. And one bad weekend where hardly no one's coming in, they go out of business. If we join together, in spite of our color, our experience in the industry, in spite of our education, our gender, if we join together and insist to exercise our no muscle, not only does it have a future, it can take the lead, making you wealthy because you're part of the first company that decided to do this. Each of you can become wealthy to the tune of 7 figures if we can land the plane here. Exercise your no muscle. This fight's simple. But we also have to take massive action, as I talked about earlier. Aggressive, massive action. What's that look like? We've got to pass the preliminaries, the simple stuff. We're all guilty of it. We joined something. We were okay that we didn't know anything about the owner. We were okay that we didn't even know how they were doing it. We were okay that they were paying out more than was coming in. We were okay that they said that there was trading. We were okay that they said things, but nothing added up. Just because we were getting paid every day for a few weeks. Then when it went out of business, we didn't share the responsibility. That we created the very monster that hurt us, we did not. But today I'm asking you, let's pass the preliminaries, and let's own the responsibility. All of us. We're all guilty. Let's own that together. Watch this. Here's my fist bump. The number 6 is the fist bump, saying that you two are willing to accept responsibility. I'm ready. I'm ready. That's why I'm here. At the risk of my other companies going out of business, I don't want that to happen. But unless somebody sacrifices, we've got nothing. It's simple. The preliminary stuff, man. Ladies, don't change it yet, bud. Put it back. Ladies, the preliminary stuff. A guy meets you. He doesn't know your favorite color. He doesn't know what flowers you like. He doesn't even know your age or your last name. And he wants you to invite you to his apartment for a nightcap. He didn't take care of the preliminaries, man. He did not. The preliminaries, that's good stuff. I don't want to park here too long because truly, I want this to be a positive meeting. See, when you declare war, if everyone's united, it's positive because we're all confident we're going to win. James, I want this to be positive, bro. I'm not here to be gloomy, but somebody's got to talk about this stuff, and why not let it be right here on the platform of STB? That means you step up to the plate, Mr. Ward. You say no. You pass the preliminaries. You commit to these people, and they commit to you. Now you can move on, sir. No need to bash other companies. It's amazing. How many of us know from childhood that the way to go somewhere isn't to step on someone else? Even the Bible tells us, for he that rejoiceth when his enemy falleth is not wise. It makes no sense to bash other companies. I'd say 99% weren't even bad people. They were afraid, they were fearful, and then they couldn't even say no to you, right? They couldn't say no to your request. And what's really crazy is they didn't know where to go with anything. It's interesting to me, James. Now, as an owner, you know this. I know it because I'm an owner. How many people who has never even run a Kool-Aid stand, they want to tell you how much of an expert they are and tell you how to change the comp plan and run. They want to tell you how to set this up and do that and do this. Never did anything themselves. They don't realize all the moving parts. These companies gone out of business. They have to run a system that at any point is going to track your downline's transaction, pay you, pay them, disperse to the company, go to the wallet without being seen by a hacking crew. And then to top it all off, they have to provide value to you. Then they have administrations behind the scene who have to fly from here to there, who have to set up this and set up that, set up emails, and what's really crazy, answer the arrogant ones in support and do all those things. And so I'm going to tell you now, when a company goes out of business, the last thing you ought to think about is how bad they are. You ought to ask yourself, what role did I have too? Because when they had it set up where it was in a way where it could be sustained, and you pushed them. Well, if you paid more on this, and you paid more on that, and you paid more on this, a weaker owner is always going to say yes. And then none of you have anything. And then the owners are going to blame you, and you're going to blame the owners. And then when the government puts you both in court, they're going to demand that this industry doesn't deserve a chance. It must stop. So let's make mutual commitments. That's going to do several things. The mutual commitments are going to demonstrate that what you have is valuable without bashing another company. Yes, there are companies gone out of business, and it's sad. That doesn't need to be the focus. What should be the focus is they don't have to go out of business any longer. They can follow the model that you are creating here at STB. You have a child. You committing to the owner committing to you. That's where the power comes in. And here's what I'm going to tell you. And it may not feel good. If you've been taught the lie that multiple streams of income is creating a lot of busyness with no income with it is the way to go, you've believed the lie. See, multiple streams of income make sense. So if you have a company, it's creating income and lots of revenue, and you go start a new one, that's good. But in the same year, the same guy, the same girl, have a dozen new starts to become a professional starter, professional joiner. There's a new one out, there's a new one, there's a new one, there's a new one. It must stop. Commitment isn't that. The commitment is when I said I do, I believe it. I'm at war. I can't look that way. I have the enemy in front of me. I can't look that way. I have the enemy in front of me. I'm committed to the owner who's sending me more weapons, more arsenal, more resources so I can beat, and together we fight it and win. But I'm going to tell you something. And I need you to understand that I need you to at least hear it. Today, while you're building your business, this owner has better be committed enough that he is going to miss a lot of sleep for a long time. And I do know that he does. I do know that he sleeps 2 to 3 hours a night based on what I know. And I do know that many of you are too. You're serious about this thing. But wouldn't it feel bad if you saw him popping up on another site and sending you an email that there's this new thing he's doing while he's doing this? I mean, how committed would he be? How many of you agree if you start getting pitched by James Ward for another program while he's saying he's committed to you, that that's not a commitment? Type in number 3 if you recognize that. Here's the real way to offset companies that have gone out of business. You don't have to talk negative about them. Be different. Be different. And it starts here at the ownership. Be so committed that you give all you can so you win. That's how Hitler was defeated. That's how the Axis powers were defeated. People gave all they could. Women went to the factories. General Motors, Ford, watch this, Chrysler, they shut down operation for 2 years to build airplanes because we didn't have nearly as many airplanes as the rest of the Axis powers. And what's interesting is, before you knew it, we had more than 100 new planes a day coming off the assembly line because women and children, while the men were at war, went and battled everything they had. They weren't doing everything. For God's sakes, I'm asking each of you, land the plane. It's time. Settle your feet. You have many of you committed more to a company that never committed to you than you have already to this. You know what you say? I'm just testing it. I'm going to see how it's going to work out first. You didn't do that before when you didn't even know who the owner was. Never could talk to them. They didn't have live events. They weren't giving you more value. Huh? You didn't do that. But now you want to, I'm just going to see. I'm just going to put my feet in the water. No. Come on. We're at war. Get moving. Your people need to see it's real, and you're not just doing another thing that you're in, that you're putting a ring on it. You're saying, this girl belongs to me. And then they're saying that you belong to them. That's what this has got to be if it's going to work. Interestingly enough, as it breaks my heart, I see many of you who are just putting your feet in the water. You're hurt. Sunday, you were told about game of the week. Some of you guys, how many of you generated some income? By the way, James, can everybody see each other's responses? I'd like for everyone to be able to see them. Is that possible? Or no? If not, don't worry about it. How many of you were able to generate a new income stream for your family starting on Sunday night or last night? Or no, Sunday night. Because of a football game, you were given the details from professionals who told you how it works, and you could put tokens on that. How many of you made some real income from that? Type in the number 1. I want you to see how powerful this is. Wow. Okay. Wow. Brett Superno, I know you. Yeah, man, you were one of the first members of my company years ago. Ben, good to see you too. Interesting. Watch this now. You didn't have that before. In the other companies, they just said, we're trading for you. We're doing lots of trading. But not only are they transparent enough to tell you what the trades are, they said, we're opening up so you can participate, and you've already started benefiting. Some of you saw last night that there was a game with Cleveland and the San Francisco. Had a chance. Some of you, if they would have opened it up for you to participate, you could have won. But the company's placing, watch this now, they're doing the trades so that there's other revenue streams so it's strong enough to always pay you back. For God's sakes, stop with this not committing and stop saying this. Now listen, if you came in and said, I'm going to watch for a few weeks and see how it works, just get in position now because it's a war. If you started to stop testing, here's what I'm going to tell you. If you're just playing business, you can do that anywhere. You don't have to come to do this here. Get in, go all in. I'm serious. If you were intending on being on level 2, do it. There's no reason to wait. The preliminaries are over. The company showed their hand. They showed their hand, which means you can look them up and go find them. They did that. They showed you their hand. Get moving. If you came in to do that, come in, realize you're at war. There's a weapon in your hand, you have to use it or it will be used against you. Let's go. If you came in and says, look, after I look at it for a little bit, I'm then going to go to level 8. I'm going to level 5. Go now. That's the war. I wasn't a Marine. My brothers were. I was Army. And I learned you go now. You go now. The rest of my battalion depend on that. I have to act now and be aggressive. And watch this now. I have to be committed. Now, my commitment means so much, even when I get wounded, I know I'm at war. I don't tuck tail and go to the enemy and say, I'm sorry, I'm on your team now. No. I'm at war. I fight with the people I'm fighting with, and we get through it together. So I'm going to tell you something. The company's releasing a lot of new stuff for you very soon. You can wait until then to go all in, or you can do it now. Waiting is not going to be your best friend. I've already warned you. The reason we've all been losing this battle is because no one's aggressive. Better become aggressive. Get there now. There's some crazy stuff that's going to be announced, I was told. James has some stuff he's announcing, I guess, this week. It's crazy. I'm excited with you. But here's what I'm going to tell you. Those of you who are tiptoeing through the tulips and uncertain, you needed to do that at those companies that didn't commit to you. This company's committed to you. You should commit so we can win this war together. Are you ready? Number 3. If you're ready, type in number 3. I'm ready. And yes, I know I'm at risk. I'm at risk for people to write an ugly blog story to say ugly things about me. I know that. But I thought you were worth it. I think my family's worth it. I think the industry's worth it. Great. Let us go. Let us freaking go. James, go ahead and click the link. We have to fight against the lies. I told you about one of the lies. One of the lies is that all these companies are made up of evil people, evil Hitlers, right? And I've already told you one of the lies. There was no personal responsibility. Yes, they've done a bad thing, but they've done a bad thing with your permission, with my permission. When we signed up and didn't watch out this, we didn't find out who they were. We didn't care because they paid so well. But when we asked the question, how can they pay so well, and didn't get an answer, we kept going anyway. What's cool about this, James, is I can see that it's not as aggressive as what everyone has seen before. And when they ask the question, they get an answer. When leaders ask you, James, well, couldn't you just like boost it maybe to 4% or 5% or something like that for the daily? What do you tell them, sir? Let's get that on record. What's the answer to that? Can you just I've been doing this for years. I'm a guru. I've made 7 figures in the industry. And I'm telling you now, if you boost it to 5%, everybody's coming. What is your answer, sir? Want you all to hear this. I want to know too. What's your answer?
Well, it's a great question. We definitely get it all the time. There's 2 things that come to mind. Number 1, if you have all the answers, I would just tell you to start your own company. Now that might sound really blunt, but that's the reality of it. And number 2, I don't take advice from anybody in any company that is no longer standing. The comparisons that we get in this industry are constantly, hey, this company did this company did this. That's right. That company's no longer around. So, for us, we're not trying to be anybody. We're not trying to be anyone else but us. And we're doing a good job of it. And that's the direction we're heading. So it's not that we think that we know everything, because we definitely don't. And I think any leader that you speak with would tell you that we're very humble and, taking advice and understanding on things that they are experts at. But when it comes to percentages, when it comes to doing what everybody else is doing, no thanks. We're going the opposite direction, because our goal and our vision is to be here to stand the test of time. We're breaking the mold in this industry. It's not just something we're talking about. It's something that we're doing.
So does that mean the answer is no or yes?
That means the answer is no.
Yes. I want everyone to hear it that way, because I understood what you were saying, but part of the thing that's been happening is everyone wants to bring the benefits of the last company, even if it killed them. So you're 100% right, James, but we have to take responsibility now. We're at war. And the reason it's not even mathematically feasible to pay 5% every day on a market that changes every day. If a company's paying 5% every day, when Bitcoin is worth 12,000, which is where it was when this company started, and then it goes down to 8, how can they still pay 5% out? Every day, it cannot be fixed. You don't have to like it. It just has to make sense so that your family can benefit. Yay. Okay, cool beans. Great job, James. Fantastic. So, the lies. I told you one of them. That's one of the lies. Another one of the lies was multiple streams of income. Trust me, if you are not financially free and you got 8 businesses, someone lied to you. You got all these things that you're a part of. Let me log in my other account. You create a residual payout, but you're breaking even, and I guarantee you it's not paying you better than your last job. When are we going to straighten this thing up and stop? Hey, yes, multiple streams of incomes work. That does work. But you have to make them successful first. Get one, make it successful first, and then add another. But you don't become a professional joiner, because here's the deal. We have got to stop. And I'm going to get to that slide, so I don't want to jump ahead. But yes, there are different lies that are out there. One of them, another lie, let's get back to it, bro. Another lie is that just because you've had success in a different industry, that it means it's going to transfer to this one. So yes, I know there's a lot of people here who are highly educated, and that's huge. There's a lot of people who spent 20 years in MLM. Then we've got those who've been miners longer than I knew about cryptocurrency's existence. That's great stuff, but everything doesn't transfer. That lie will set a company up for failure if the owner falls for it, and it'll set up for failure if you guys fall for it. So what has to happen is they are different things. Business alone is tough, but when you add cryptocurrency and the thousands of different, what they call chrome jobs, and all of the different moving parts, and then you want to also give your opinion about changing percentages, you personally single-handedly kill it yourself, and it will have to stop. We have to stop the lies of thinking everything translates. Because I have an MBA, that means we're going to be great. No. Because I've done MLM and I've been a part of Amway and all these other companies for years, it means my way is going to work. No, it's so different. It's a new industry and a new day. And yes, there's room for the millennials who have no experience. There's room for the internet marketer who have no experience. There's room for those who did master it. But you know what I found out, James? The most humble people are those who have been successful in a cryptocurrency MLM. They come very humbly, say, well, let's do what we can. And they're not trying to force anything. So I wanted to just get that out of the way. Men and women alike, let's fight against the lies. Let's know how to take a punch, take one, give one, duck, guard, whatever we have to do. Okay, next slide. We have to answer the call for leadership. Let's be responsible and not seeking everyone else to be responsible. Talked about this already enough. It's enough. I don't like it personally. Some of you ever joined my company, you'll know it. I'm not for it. If you come, don't bother telling me how good you are if you're asking me to pay for it, because it doesn't add up. It just doesn't. Why should I dump all of the pain onto the single parent who's never done MLM to go and pay and join? Why should I dump that on the new widow or widower or the person who just buried their parent and tell them they have to pay, but because you're good looking and been doing it for years, you don't have to? I'm being honest with you. Let's take responsibility. It's amazing to me, James, how many people go to the government and say, this company cheated me. Well, they don't tell the part that the company gave it to them for free, right? And give it to them free took money from other people. And that's what hurt everyone. No one talks about that. Well, I'm here to say it. I'm sure many of you may not like me afterward, and it's okay, but someone's got to say it. So here's the deal. I'm saying let's be responsible. Something doesn't work, let's fix it. But let's not accept everything that someone brings our way. And clearly, we can do it. I know that. If we're going to brag about, if we get on our social networks, which tell the story, you can tell me one thing, but if I visit your social network, it's going to tell me something else. You have that fancy vehicle, that amazing vacation where you're paragliding, you're doing all this cool stuff, and you can't even afford to buy a level one, $150 pro. I don't believe it. There's a conflict. We have to be, to thine own self be true. When are we going to do that? Now I know some of you have heard me say this, but I just had to get it out. We've got to get to the point where we're going to take responsibility together. James, that's you too. That no muscle is imperative for you. Can't do it. I'd love to help you out, but clearly you can do that. Just get started. Let's see where it goes. And here's the dividend. Here's the derivative. Did you guys know that when we're all responsible, the company has more than enough money now to create other ways to benefit you? You don't even have to ask for the extra money. They'll create it for you. But when you make them start off in the hole, they never have it. They're always fighting just for paying. We all play a role, baby, and we can start today. Who's starting today? Give me number 5. Who's starting today? Who? I'm starting. I'm here. I'm ready. I believe you are ready. Number 5. Yeah, I know it wouldn't be. I knew that was a tough one, but we all can be 5 on that one. Let's take our responsibility. James, let's go. We were already taking almost an hour. Good Lord, we got to get moving. Whoa, okay. All right. Learn all you can. That's the value. Learn all you can. Because here's the deal. When someone asks you about your company and all you can say is they pay well, you're kind of done a disservice. You don't go and research what they have. If they're talking about sports trading, find out all you can about it. And if they have trainings like this, we get on it and get your people on it so people can know what they have. When they don't, that's when this deceiving and the scamming starts. When all you know is that it pays, that's not enough. True story. When you know what you have, now you have something you can fight for. Now you have something to share. Let's be responsible and know what we have, and the value will keep being poured on. By the way, congratulations to all of you President Circle members. James told me he had a few sign up on the weekend. Congratulations to you on that. So now it's time to change, because your family, the narrative has got to change. And how many of you are tired of telling your family member, sorry, this year, son, you can't go to camp because I lost my money in that company I was telling you about. You have to stop. I'm sorry, I know I told you you'd be able to go on this vacation this year, but you can't. You're tired of telling your spouse, sorry, I thought things would get better. I'm trying, I'm doing something else. And it's the 6th or 7th company you're in. And you have to come up with excuses. Let's change the narrative. Through our commitments, let's land the plane and let them see results. Let's tell them yes. Our no muscles should be exercised outside, but let's learn to say yes to the people we love, the people we're serving. Let's say, sure, you want to go to the football camp? No problem, right? Your daughter needs a new violin, or someone needs whatever your people. Let's take care of our families, please. Please. Let's change the narrative, because here's what I would tell you. It does matter. And each of you here have an opportunity to change it. Right now, a lot of our families have lost respect over the last few years because a friend of theirs, everybody knows someone that lost money in cryptocurrency. So what happens? Your family doesn't want to tell you, they don't want to hurt your feelings, but they're a little off about it too. They can see what didn't happen in your household. This can change. This can truly be changed. And so as we change the narrative, let's not forget what it was all about. It was all about the people we love and serve first. It was all about that. So let's be sure to bring the trophy home for the family. Let's go to war, but let's come back. We don't have to be casualties. We can make the right decisions and do the right things from the owner standpoint and the members. My name is Dwayne Golden. It's been a pleasure being here with you, serving you. As I know James would like to answer some questions and provide feedback, I'll stick around for that if it's related to this, but if it's related to the company, James Ward will answer questions related to the corporation and how it operates, but I will about the fight and why we all must commit to it. Thank you. Thank each of you, by the way, for being here. James Ward? Yep.
So listen, first of all, I want to say thank you for that presentation, man. That was amazing. Got me fired up, and I'm definitely ready to fight for each and every one of you as well. It's cool to see all the feedback that we're getting here. As you can see, people are excited about what we're doing. I look forward to this Saturday, having a chance to shake everybody's hand in Orlando and really cast the vision of where we're going as a company. And I know you're going to be there. Our teams are going to be there as well to help us through that. But it's going to be a lot of fun. And, I've said this every single time. What we're creating here is a movement. It's not a company about sports. It's not a company about, Bitcoin or crypto. We classified in that category. But what we're creating here is a community of people that, are creating a movement. Everyone that wants to work in the same direction to break the mold in this industry to take us to where we want to be. So all those things that you hit on today, man, I'm excited about. I'm fired up about. I truly, guys, I have to go to another meeting. I have to run to another meeting right now. So
I will do my best to answer some calls, but if I defer some, they can get the others, okay?
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dwayne. Thank you all for being here. Dwayne said he'll stick around for a couple.
I'm going to stick around for a few moments to try and help. But if it's related to things related to the company that is in his wheelhouse, I will hold off on that, but I will do the best I can to give it a shot, okay?
All right, thanks.
Thank you, James. Thanks, appreciate it, bro. So I'm going to start off, number one, by letting you know if you have any questions or comments related to what we've discussed. It's all right. Please share it. I would have it. I'm going to start off with Tyrone Hutton, who's asking about the professional traders. That is something, now two things. I don't know how to, let's see, let me do this.